Yeah, I started practicing law in 1979 at an institution called the Center for Constitutional Rights. And they're a civil rights, civil liberties organization in the city, still in existence. And I worked with a lawyer named William Kunstler, who was probably one of the most famous civil rights lawyers of his time, back in the 60s. And I came to Pace over 20 years ago to teach civil procedure, labor law, New York practice, and civil rights law and litigation. When I came, I told the then dean that one of the reasons why I was coming to teach at Pace was that I wanted the ability and the opportunity to engage in civil rights practice, to continue the work that I started at CCR. And she encouraged me to do that. So now we have a civil rights externship program. I am of counsel to a firm in the city with another Pace professor. Her name is Deborah Cohen. She teaches a civil rights law class. And we have a civil rights externship program at the law firm where students get a chance to work on major cases. We have cases involving police misconduct, marriage equality, employment discrimination, voting rights, land use, affordable housing, housing discrimination, whatever interests us, literally, we can get involved in. So the students get a chance to work with us for a year on these cases, and they write memos, they write briefs, they write interrogatories. If we have a trial, they go to trial with us. I was getting ready to have an appellate argument in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Students were going to work with me on that, actually participate in the process. We also hire students, 6 students we hire on a part-time basis, and then full-time in the summer, who also work on these cases with us. So you get a chance to not only work with me in the classroom on the stuff that we do, but you get a chance to be out in the world and getting hands-on practical experience, literally almost from day one. And I don't bring you in as a first-year student. I think in your first year you need to really focus on your first-year classes. But after the first year, then if you get to me in the beginning of your second year, you could conceivably work with me for 2 years. Law school is a very different experience than college. In college, you can kind of sit like a bump on a log, put your tape recorder on or your iPhone and just press the record button and kind of zone out and search your Facebook page. You can't really do that in law school. And I have a policy that students must come to class prepared. And I ask questions. I believe in what's called the Socratic method. So I ask you questions, you must give me answers. And you can't say unprepared. So you may wonder, well, what happens if a student comes to class unprepared? I'll tell you what happens. I tell that student, when they say those magical words, I say to them, do you know the rules? It happens at least once a year, only once a year. Do you know the rules? And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. If they say no, I don't know the rules, then then they're really in trouble. So I ask a student next to them, tell them what the rules were. So after they've been told what the rules were, or after they've told me that they knew what the rule was, I say to the student, oh, I guess what I'm going to do now? Now, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. And when I come back, that case that you didn't read, you will have read it. And you've got 10 minutes to read that case. And I will now ask you questions about what you just read. So you may say to me, well, why do you do that? That's so harsh, they're young students. Here's why I do that. I don't really care what kind of a law student you're going to be. That interests me not at all. What I care about is what type of a lawyer you're going to be. And I'm a litigator. I'm in courtrooms a lot. I can't walk into a courtroom with a case and a client and tell the judge, when the judge asks me a question, I'm not really ready to answer that question. I'm not prepared today. Really? We call that in the business malpractice. So I'm teaching you right now, this is not just more school. This is a professional school. And you must think of yourself as a professional from the moment you cross my door.